You're posting on YouTube and people are watching your videos, but nobody's reaching out, booking calls or buying. Instead, they just watch, they leave and they forget you ever existed. I know why. Because you're teaching, but you're not connecting with them. And when you do that, people don't remember what you said. One of my clients, a financial advisor, had the same problem. He has been posting on YouTube for 2 years, building at more than 300,000 views and 3,700 subscribers, resulting in about 3 leads a month. The results were not bad, but I knew there was more on the table, and the only thing we had to make was one change: how he tells stories in his videos. So 3 weeks later, after posting his first 3 videos together, he already had 30 leads reaching out. That's more leads in 3 weeks than he got in the previous 10 months combined, which is why in this video I'm breaking down the exact storytelling psychology that turns viewers into buyers. We'll cover why stories work when facts don't, the 3 types of stories that position you as an authority, how to tell stories that actually stick, and the mistakes that make your stories fall flat. It's time to stop being forgettable. Let's get into it. And let me prove this to you right now. I'm going to share the same lesson in 2 different ways. Version 1 says, if you want results on YouTube, you have to follow a proven system. Don't just do your own thing, but trust a proven process. Instead, version 2 would be, I had a client for whom we took care of the entire YouTube process, from topic research to video outlines and even channel management. All he had to do was show up and record. But when I watched his videos back, I realized he wasn't following the outlines. He had changed the video structure and added sections that didn't need to be there. He decided to do it his own way. A few weeks later, he sent me a message. Jente, I don't think YouTube is for me. It's not working, I'm not getting results. So I got on a call with him and I said, YouTube is for you. It will work for you, but you have to follow actually the video topics and structures I give you. So I asked him to give it a real try just for a few videos and follow the system exactly as I laid it out. And he agreed. Within the next 3 videos, his views started to climb and his leads started booking calls. This happened 16 months ago, and today he's our longest running client. So, which version of the same lesson are you going to remember tomorrow? Which one made you actually feel something? The second one, right? That's the power of storytelling. Where version 1 was purely informational, version 2 had emotion and transformation. And here's the psychology behind it. When you tell a story, you're not just giving information, you're activating the listener's brain as if they're living it themselves. When I described watching his videos back and realizing something was off, you saw that moment. When he messaged me saying, YouTube isn't for me, you felt the frustration. And when everything changed after following the system, you felt the payoff. That's what they call neurocoupling. The listener's brain starts to mirror the storyteller's brain. And if you can do that with your stories, people want more. Now you understand why stories work, but what stories should you actually tell? After working with over 100 businesses on YouTube, I found there are only 3 types of stories that matter, and each one of them serves a different purpose. But together, they turn viewers into buyers faster than any funnel, ad, or sales pitch ever could do. Let me break them down. First, there is your credibility story. This is a story that makes viewers think, this person knows what they're talking about and I should keep listening. Yet, most business owners get this wrong. They either skip it entirely, jumping straight into teaching without giving viewers a reason to trust them, or they do the complete opposite and they ramble on about their life story, their journey, and how they got started, which makes viewers click away before they ever get to the point. Because your credibility story shouldn't be your biography. Instead, it's a stack of proof where you deliver your results, experience, and expertise fast. Let me show you what I mean. One of my clients is a swimming coach. He's been coaching for 35 years, swam in European Championship finals, and coached an Olympic bronze medalist. Here is how he opens his video.
Over the past 35 years, I have swam in the European Championship final, World Championship semi-final, and won 5 NCAA Division II titles. Coached an Olympic bronze medalist, dozens of national titles, and helped thousands of master swimmers finally break through the plateaus. And today I'm compressing those 35 years into this one video.
That's 15 seconds. And in these 15 seconds, you know exactly why you should listen to him. And probably you're excited to keep watching because he's about to give you 35 years of expertise in one video. This is how a credibility story should be. Not full life history, but just stacked proof, delivered fast, and followed by a reason to keep watching. Another client of mine is a financial planner, and he opens like this.
Did you think that planning for retirement was going to be straightforward? Many people do, and over the last 13 years as a financial planner, I have helped hundreds of Canadians retire comfortably. But I've also watched hundreds more make the same mistakes over and over. Mistakes that can cost them thousands of dollars, years of stress, and sometimes their entire retirement lifestyle.
Again, this was delivered in only 10 seconds, and within these 10 seconds you know his experience and realize he's seen what works and what doesn't. So there is no other possibility than to keep on watching because you want to hear what those mistakes are so you don't make them yourself. So your credibility story should answer one question: why should I trust you? And not with a 5-minute backstory, but with a 15-second proven record. Now, your credibility story builds trust, but viewers are still thinking, okay, you're an expert, but will this actually work for me? And this is where client transformation stories come in. In fact, this is the most powerful story type for generating leads, because when someone sees a person just like them get results, the objection disappears. They stop thinking, will this work for me? And they start thinking, I want that too. Let me show you how my client Chad does this. He's a financial planner who helps Canadians retire, and in one of his videos he doesn't just explain retirement math, he actually introduces characters.
Let's meet Dave and Linda. Dave and Linda are both 62. They're in Ontario. Dave put 35 years into a manufacturing job, while Linda worked part-time raising the kids. Between the two of them, they've managed to sock away $150,000. They own their house outright, which is worth about $450,000. Their goal in retirement is to retire now at 62 and be spending $4,000 per month in retirement.
Then he walks through their exact situation, sharing the problems they will run into, the levers they can pull, and what the outcome will be. By the end of his story, you're not thinking about abstract retirement concepts, but you're thinking, that sounds like me and my situation. This guy can help me. Well, this video is one of his highest performing ever, both in terms of views and leads, because he didn't teach retirement planning, but told the story about Dave and Linda. And here is what makes client transformation stories work. You need to be specific. Don't say, I help the client get more leads, but say, I help the financial planner go from 3 leads a month to 30 leads in 3 weeks. Next, show the before and after. What was their situation? What changed? What's the result? And finally, make the characters relatable. The more your viewer sees themselves in the story, the more powerful it becomes. So your client transformation stories should answer one question: will this work for me? And if you show them the transformation made by someone like them, they will answer that question themselves. Right now, you've built trust with your credibility story, and you've built proof with your client transformation stories. Next, it's time to build desire with the what if story. This is where you paint a picture of what's possible for your viewer. It's not about what you've done, nor what your clients have done, but what they could do. This is all about future pacing, which means helping viewers see themselves in a better situation because of what you're teaching them. Unfortunately, most business owners skip this entirely because they teach, they share, they give value, but they never help the viewer imagine their own transformation. Yet, people don't want to buy information. Instead, they buy a vision of a better future. Let me show you what this looks like. In Chad's video we talked about before, he didn't end with, and that's how the math works, after walking through Dave and Linda's scenario.
So what's the verdict here? Can Dave and Linda retire at 62 with $150,000? Yes, but it'll be tough and there's a lot of trades that need to be made. Could they comfortably retire after working 2 additional years? Absolutely. There's still some trades to be made, but I believe that they're reasonable to be very comfortable in retirement.
This is the perfect example of a what if story. He's helping his viewers see, what if that was me? What if I could retire comfortably with just a few adjustments? At this point, the viewer isn't just learning about Dave and Linda anymore, they're imagining their own retirement and what their future would look like. That's the shift. So how do you create your own what-if stories? Start by asking yourself these questions. What does my viewer's life look like after they apply what I'm teaching? What frustration disappears? What becomes possible that wasn't possible before? What does their day-to-day actually look like on the other side? Then paint that picture for them. You don't have to say imagine yourself, although you can, but just show what's possible through a client story, a case study, or even a hypothetical scenario. The point is to get them out of their current reality and into the future where their problem is solved. Because once they see that future and believe it's possible, they will want your help to get there. So your what if story should answer one question: what's possible for me? Then paint the picture to help them see it, and they will want to work with you to make it real. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, I get it, storytelling matters, but I don't know how to actually build these stories into my videos. That's exactly what we do at Fast Forward Media. We take your results and expertise and turn them into videos that position you as the go-to authority in your niche. We structure your clients' wins so viewers see themselves in your content, all while building a YouTube system that turns viewers into clients without you figuring it out all by yourself. You just show up and record. We handle all the rest. If you want us to build this for you, there's a link in the description to book a call. So now you know the 3 stories you need to tell, but knowing what to say and knowing how to say it are 2 different things. Because most people tell stories that fall flat, not because the story is bad, but because they tell it wrong. So here is how to tell stories that actually stick. First of all, you need to be specific. For some reason, most people think being vague makes them more relatable. For example, I was nervous quitting my job. My instinctive reaction is, okay, we've all been nervous. Do you see how that doesn't stick? Now listen to this. I'm sitting at my desk, staring at my screen, but I haven't finished a single task in 2 hours. Do you feel the difference? That feeling is specificity. When you're telling a story, you need to use your 5 senses. What did you see? What did you hear? What did you smell? What did you taste? And what did you touch? And the 6th sense, what did you feel emotionally? Let me give you a quick example from the day I quit my job to go all in on YouTube. I just came back from a 2-week holiday. A holiday they had granted me even though I hadn't earned it yet. And on that holiday, I made the decision. I'm done. I'm going all in. So there I was, my first day back in the office, and I had to tell my boss I was leaving. I kept glancing at his office door. Every time it opened, my stomach flipped. But it was never him. My colleagues were chatting, laughing and talking about their weekends, but I couldn't hear a word. To me, it was just noise. My hands were clammy and I kept wiping them on my trousers under the desk. I felt like I was carrying a secret that was too heavy to hold. Every minute that passed made it even worse. I sat there from 8 until 10 before he even arrived. And then another hour before he had time to talk. I just tried to act normal and get some work done, but I couldn't focus on anything. Every few minutes I just looked at his door again. And then finally I walked in. I didn't know how to start, so I just said it. He looked at me, paused, and finally said he was happy for me, that he was glad I had found something I wanted to pursue. Did you feel how all the anxiety built up and created a picture you could relate to? That's what specificity does. Science has shown that specific details activate the listener's mirror neurons. So your brain isn't just processing words, it actually simulates the experience. When I described wiping my hands on my trousers, you felt that clamminess. And when I described glancing at his door over and over, you felt the dread. That is what specific stories do. They bypass logic and hit experience instead. But to hit the experience, you have to relive the stories and not just report them. Reporting would be, in 2024, I joined a mentorship program to turn my freelance work into a real business. After 3 months of outreach with no results, I finally got on a sales call in July. They said yes to a 3-month retainer, and it was a big moment for my business. That's accurate, but it sounds like a flat Wikipedia version of my life. Instead, reliving it would be, it's July 2024, I've been in this mentorship program for 3 months. I've done the outreach, sent all the messages and built the entire system, but still Nothing. Not a single client. Before this, I was a freelancing doing hourly jobs from month to month without any consistency. And now I'm sitting here, 3 months into trying to change that, and I'm starting to wonder if this is ever going to work. Then finally, I got a positive reply. Somebody wants to get on a call. Once on the Zoom call, my heart is pounding. And although I'm trying to sound calm, inside I'm thinking, please let this be the one. We spend the next 45 minutes talking about their YouTube channel, and I walk them through how I can help them get better results. And then they say it. Okay, let's do it. Let's start a 3-month collaboration. I mute myself because I don't want them to hear my exhale. They just said yes, my first long-term client. I didn't fully realize it at the time, but that moment changed everything. That one yes is the reason Fast Forward Media exists today. Did you feel the difference? When you relive a story, something changes in your body because you're not describing a memory, you feel back in it. And when you're back in it, your audience is too. So here are 3 quick tips to relive instead of report your next story. First, use the present tense. Don't say, I was sitting there nervously. Instead say, I'm sitting there, my heart is pounding, but I'm trying to sound calm. Second, let your body join in. If your hands were shaking, let them shake while you tell it. And third, use the 5 senses. One vivid detail is all you need to transport someone. Yet there is an important part that most people miss, because a specific story that makes you relive the experience is worthless without the meaning behind it. The meaning is what makes your story useful. It's what transforms entertainment into transformation. Think about it this way. The story is the doorway. The meaning is what people will find on the other side of the doorway. And the magic words to transfer meaning are, the reason I'm telling you this is because. That's the moment your audience connects the dots, and when they understand why this story matters to them. Let me show you. If I told you 2 weeks ago, I sent a message to our clients asking them to submit their recordings 5 days before the upload date. I had been avoiding that conversation for months, and it took me over 1 hour to write the message. Yet, every single client replies saying they agreed with this decision. You would think, why are you telling me this? But if I said, the reason I'm telling you this is because we overcomplicate things that don't need to be complicated. The conversation you've been avoiding with your clients will probably be received far better than you think, especially when it benefits them too. Said this way, it becomes relevant and sticks. Your story can be very simple and your transformation can be small, but there must always be a meaning that connects to your viewer's life. Otherwise, you're just talking about yourself. Now, you know how to tell stories that stick, but even after learning everything I just shared, most business owners are still falling for the same 3 mistakes. The first one is giving too many details. We all have that friend whose stories are 50% longer than they need to be. Don't be that person. If a detail doesn't move the story forward, cut it. I don't care if it was a Wednesday afternoon and you were drinking green tea with Jeremy, who then left if he plays no part in the rest of the story. So always ask yourself, if I delete this part, does the story still work? If the answer is yes, delete it. The second mistake is making yourself the hero. If your story is all about how smart you are, how perfect your system is, how fast you made money, it stops being relatable. Nobody recognizes themselves in that story. Instead of creating connections, it creates distance. So make your client or your viewer the hero. You're just the guide to show them what's possible and help them win. Because the hard truth is that most people don't care about you. They only care about how you can help them, so keep the focus there. And the third mistake is trying to sound clever. Some entrepreneurs write stories like they are submitting them for a writing contest. They overthink the words, add metaphors, and above all, try to sound impressive. But trying to sound smart makes your message harder to trust. Instead, talk like a real person and use the same words you would use telling the story to a friend. You will get much more attention by being clear and honest instead of trying to sound clever. Now you know how to tell stories that stick, but what story are you going to tell? How do you make sure your audience actually is interested in it? And how should you package them so people click on them in the first place? That's exactly why I made this video right here, where I break down my complete 6-step YouTube system that generated millions of views and revenue for my clients. I see you there.